network. If you're just joining us, thank you for watching the Live Zone. Now to the war in the Middle East. Iran launching missiles in drones targeting Israel in the Gulf states. Well, that now becoming a thing of the norm. This as President Trump looks toward peace, holding off on attacking Iran's energy infrastructure. Trump saying the U.S. and Iran are in peace talks, though that is being disputed by Iran. The Iranian parliament speaker posting to X, quote, fake news is used to manipulate the financial and oil markets. The regime also says its armed forces will fight until, quote, complete victory. Meanwhile, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he will not let up on Iran. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Nitsana, Darshan-Leitner, Israeli attorney and human rights activist back here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, Nitsana. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
So a couple of things actually taking place over the last 48 hours. We know that Iranian missiles hit a residential apartment building. We also know this took place near a nuclear reactor, if you will. 180 civilians injured. The Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, says Iran is deliberately targeting civilians from a legal standpoint. Nitsana, what does this really constitute under international law?
This is a complete war crime. The Geneva Convention prohibits any retaliation against population, against civilians. And here Iran is taking the liberty to directly, intentionally, consistently hitting civilians. Now, it's not that there was a military base nearby. You're talking about the nuclear program, the nuclear facility, which are miles away from Dimona, from Arad, from the cities that Iran hits. They're using it as an excuse to hit the population. And these are very accurate missiles with heavy head of explosive. And you know what? What's striking here is the double standard, because this is a war crime with no question. But I don't hear the same voices that attacked President Trump for striking Iran, calling it a violation of international law, sounding now against what Iran is doing to children, elderly, and women in Israel.
We know that as a result of those strikes, some 180 civilians were injured. I guess the question that needs to be posed is, do they have the right and or the ability to seek legal action?
They could, not in Israel at the beginning. Only in America you can sue Iran. You can sue a sovereign state that supports terrorism, because in the United States, Iran does not enjoy sovereign immunity. Unfortunately, it does not apply in Israel or any other country in the world except for Canada. But it's a great topic, because once you convince, and this is what I'm trying to do, once you convince other countries around the world to strip Iran from its immunity, you can go after the regime's assets. And as we saw, sanctions don't help in this matter, only if you go after the assets of the regime itself.
Which leads me to my next question and or statement. I want my viewers to know that you have secured some $2 billion in judgments against Iran as bombs are literally falling. As you and I speak right at this very moment, what does it mean to hold a regime accountable in a courtroom while it's literally firing missiles at your country?
You know, this war is taking 24 days now. And we see that Iran sends bombs. It sends strikes. It sends sanctions and pressure. The one that I believe it will not send is going after personal assets of the Iranian leaders. Because, as I said before, sanctions help to a certain extent, but they mostly harm the population. If you want to harm the Revolutionary Guards leaders, if you want to harm the Ayatollahs, look at Mujtaba Khamenei. He's got billions of dollars. He's got hotels in Frankfurt. He got buildings in London. He's got businesses all over the place. The guy did not work one day in his life. Where is this money coming from? That's the Iranian regime's money that he stole. So if you go after his personal assets, if you go after the leaders, the other leaders' assets, you can collapse the regime. And this is what you can do in order to finally win this war. And it works. We've been doing it for 25 years. Iran cares. I want to tell you that usually they don't come to court when you file legal action against them. But once you hit their pocket, they send lawyers, they litigate the case because they care. They care about the place where it hurts the most, their pocketbook.
Yeah, speaking of the pocketbook, it's no secret Iran now firing over 400 ballistic missiles at Israel in 23 days. Each one costs millions of dollars. You, ma'am, have spent your career seizing Iranian assets and freezing their accounts. So I guess we really have to say, at what point does the financial pressure make it physically impossible for Iran to keep on launching?
When all the countries gather together and choke Iran. Indeed, all these ballistic missiles cost a fortune. But Iran, it reminds me when Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority, said, even if the Palestinian Authority will remain with the last dollar, it will go to the jihadists. It will go to support the jihad against Israel, as well as the Iranian regime. The Iranian regimes believe that even if they're left with the last dollar, it will go to their military operation. And therefore, we have to choke it until they don't remain even with the last dollar. And this is not utilizing only their bombs, which are very, very costly, but really stopping any country, including China, Russia, other countries, of doing businesses with Iran.
Nitsana, will end with this, and that is you are currently suing Hezbollah on behalf of the families of 12 children murdered on a soccer field. An $80 million lawsuit filed during wartime. Now, Hezbollah has opened a second front again. And so with that being said, why did you choose to file this case while the fighting is still ongoing?
This is the remaining of October 7th. In Israel, we have too many fronts, too many wars to fight. And indeed, we are planning to sue Iran on behalf of the victims of this current war. But we don't forget the victims of October 7th and the war that Hezbollah is conducting against us since that day. Launching a missile, hitting children that are playing soccer on a Saturday morning in Majd al-Shams, a Druze village. Innocent children is a total war crime, is a total offense. And Hezbollah has to pay a lot of money for this. And also the regime that supports it. Iran has a lot of arms, very dangerous arms, and we have to cut them and to choke them one after another. And this is what we are doing.
We'll have to leave it there. Yet again, Nitsana Darshan-Leitner, Israeli attorney and human rights activist, joining us on the Live Zone. I truly appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back.